Okay.
I'd like to call this meeting to order. It's November the 4th at 7 o'clock for our regular scheduled meeting. Our First Nations land acknowledgement. As we gather today, I would like to acknowledge on behalf of this committee and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We would like to thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history. And we are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. Oh, we forgot to adopt the agenda.
Moved by Harold Levine, second by Maureen McMillan. Be it resolved that Council for the Township of Killaloe, Haggerty, and Richards hereby adopts the agenda for the regular meeting of November 4th, 2025 as presented.
All those in favor? Carried. And please join me in a moment of silent reflection. Thank you. And now for the mayor's address. Events that I attended on behalf of the township, October 22nd, County Council, and also the Development and Property Committee, as well as the Operations Committee. October 23rd, there was an EOC training, and it was through Zoom, and there was other municipalities all involved, so it was a major thing. October the 30th was a poppy presentation right here in council chambers. And November the 1st, I attended the ribbon cutting for Billy Deneau's office on Isabella Street in Pembroke. And of course, we cannot have a meeting without discussing provincial legislation in regards to the strong mayor's powers. After speaking directly with our integrity commissioner and closed meeting investigator, Tony Fleming, for almost an hour last Thursday, and reviewing the opinion of John Mascaron several times, I've had the opportunity to reflect on these matters. This has been an extensive learning experience for me, and I recognize that I still have more to learn as we continue working through this together. I plan to review all the mayoral directives to ensure they align as closely as possible with provincial law and best practices. That review will mainly take place after the ministry's upcoming presentation and once our township's procedural bylaw number 16-2023 has been updated to reflect the strong mayor framework that came into effect on May 1st, 2025 under OREG 530-22. For context, most nonprofit organizations operate under federal and provincial legislation, federally as registered charities under the Income Tax Act, and provincially as nonprofit corporations. When those laws change, organizations are expected to adjust to remain in compliance. Municipalities follow a similar principle. Our procedural bylaw should have been updated when the Strong Mayor Framework came into force on May 1st to maintain consistency with the Municipal Act of 2001. Because that update hasn't been yet occurred, some uncertainty has developed about how certain responsibilities are applied in practice. Once the bylaw is modernized, I believe it will help bring clarity for council, staff, and the public and ensure we're all working from the same foundation. Before continuing to rely on the aired and bearless opinion dated October 14th, I simply want to note an important factual point. That opinion appears to have been based on the township's 2023 procedural bylaw, which does not yet include the Strong Mayor Framework that took effect earlier this year. When the opinion refers to some directives as conflicting with the procedural bylaw, that's understandable because the bylaw still reflects pre-May 1st structure. For reference, that phrase appears several times in the document. It is my understanding that the province expects all designated municipalities to update their bylaws to align with the Municipal Act of 2001 and OREG 530-22. Once that step is complete, everyone at the council table and the public will be operating within the same legislative framework and with a shared understanding of roles, responsibilities, and direction. I would now like to read some of John Mascaron's quotes. And he and a lady named Jennifer Bylas, they did Shifting the Municipal Governance Model 2022. They provided the following observations. The heads of council of designated municipalities are assigned the powers of the Chief Administrative Officer under Section 229 of the Municipal Act 2001, which grants them general control and management of the affairs of the municipality. As such, in a strong mayor system, the Chief Administrative Officer is effectively relegated to the role of Chief of Staff to the head of council. That was a quote. And another quote is, the head of council will have the authority to direct employees to undertake research and provide advice to the mayor and the municipality, and to carry out duties to implement those decisions, including those of the mayor. Another quote, this marks a monumental shift of responsibility. These statements confirm that the legislative intent is to move executive control from council collectively to the mayor individually. The CAO remains a professional, nonpartisan administrator, but now implements direction from the head of council rather than from council as a body. Another quote, municipal staff may no longer be beholden to the elected council. The head of council will have the authority to direct employees and to carry out duties to implement those decisions, including those of the mayor. These passages support the notion that the mayor now holds a more direct administrative role, directing staff and shaping administrative structure. So those four were quotes by John Mascarin. And despite that sentiment, Mascarin added, I've been saying to many municipalities, get over it. You have to now work in a different way with this because it is now in place until the provincial government changes it.
Yeah.
Joe,
I have another quote here too. I will not be enacting the strong mayor powers. Dave May.
yeah. Okay. Any pecuniary or financial interest? Having seen none. And now we will move to our delegation. Mr. Huggett.
Good evening, council. I'm here to discuss Acorn Lake, the future of Acorn Lake. Before I do an introduction, can you give me some idea, do people know where Acorn Lake is? Okay, Ted does. Carl, do you know where it is? Off Guns Road?
Okay, up on the top of the mountain. Okay, oh.
It's off Guns Road. It's situated north of Stevenson Lake. So it's east of Pine River. Okay. So basically, there's 200 hectares surrounding Acorn Lake, and it's scheduled for cutting this winter. And it's predominantly poplar, mature poplar, probably 75-year-old poplar, a lot of red oak. The red oak is not very large, so I don't think there's a lot of value in it. And it surrounds Acorn Lake, and Acorn Lake is about 13 hectares in size. It's used locally, the local residents use it, very popular because of the easy access. When I say easy access, it's about 400 meters off Guns Road. Goes up a bit of a hill, but apart from that, it's pretty easy access. It's close to Round Lake Center, obviously. It's close to the Bonnechere Provincial Park. And it is heavily used by locals for trout fishing. So there's a trout fishery that was stocked several years ago with, I believe it's brook and speckled trout. And at the moment, there's a lot of guys out there hunting. They've come in from elsewhere to do deer hunting because it's a deer season. So anyway, what I did speak with Nick Gooderham, who's the general manager for the Ottawa Valley Forestry Incorporated. And I tried to get a feel of, is he flexible about having the overlapping license holders be granted allocations elsewhere. So it's difficult to tell. He's open, I believe he's open. And the reason I say that is the 200 hectares that surround Acorn Lake, there's not a lot of timber value. The value is basically in the lake itself. And the reason for that is that it is undeveloped. There's no cottages on it. So there's campsites around the lake. It's used by hikers, ice fishermen. There's a couple of canoes up there at the moment, hunting and fishing, snowshoeing, and it really is a good recreational asset. So I'm here tonight to see if council is willing to pass a motion to send Mr. Gooderham a correspondence words to the effect that we would like it be kept for recreation, and to do so, see if he can get the tenure for the license holders, give them a deferred zoning, or rather a piece of land elsewhere for them to log. It's as simple as that. So I don't know if I made myself clear. Are there any questions?
Does anybody go?
Is there any precedent for that? Like, have any municipal councils done something similar?
I don't know about this area. I know in the areas in Quebec where I was, yes, this issue is coming up all the time. Not necessarily in the context of logging per se, but development, residential development. And so it's very controversial. In this instance, I don't think it is, because we have plenty of crown land in the forest inventory that's sitting there and has not been cut, so that anyone who's been awarded a contract to cut in that area would have the option of taking land elsewhere. And there's not a lot of value in it. What I'm trying to impress upon you is the value is not in the wood. The value is in the lake. But if you cut the forest, there will be no value in the lake. Have I made myself clear? It's a lake. I mean, a lake is undeveloped, it's accessible to the public, it's on Crown land. And the Crown land belongs to all of us. So if it's multiple use, which it's supposed to be, once the trees are gone, that's it. You can't use it. You won't be able to use that as an asset. And the other issue is that the soil is very thin. It's a lot of boulders up there if you've been there, and regeneration will be very poor. They call that barren and scattered. A lot of times they don't even bother cutting in an area like that because they know it won't come back. So yeah, it's basically, I'm asking council to draft a motion, send it to Mr. Gooderham, and see if we can have that area put aside so we can use it for all the recreational activities that are used at the moment by local people and visitors at this time, such as hunters. And then use it as a tourism draw in the future if we manage to get a agreement with the MNR, which I can't see why we can't, to have a little parking area put in there and some signage. So it will enhance, attract visitors and future visitor residents to the area.
Any other questions? Good.
Not a question, more just discussion. The problem I have is this part of the forestry management plan? Like, do they have a reason why they are cutting this?
Yeah, it's part of their plan. So the plan, yeah, so the whole area, the Ottawa Valley, has already gone through a planning process. And they allocate certain annual work schedules for certain cut blocks. And this one has just come up for cutting. And the reason they've probably chosen this one is that the poplar is mature now, so it's probably like 75 years old. And in forest management, essentially, when it reaches a certain age, it's not going to grow much bigger, right? Because poplars, the lifespan of a poplar is usually 85 years and then it's gone. So it's shade intolerant. So it's just come up, and they've upgraded Guns Road. There is talk about them going up the Pine River watershed, which I don't think is a good idea, but that's a separate issue. And this has easy access. The wood value, like I said, is not a lot. You know, it's not a lot of wood.
Another thing as a hunter, you were saying with hunting, when they do big cuts like this, it actually helps hunting.
Yeah, I know it creates a lot of browse for deer
For
and
moose,
what in this instance is we're dealing with oak. So a lot of acorns and deer like oak, as you're probably aware, because of the protein content. And there's wild turkeys up there as well, and bear. And the business of browse, there's no shortage of browse because there's a lot of cutting going on, and this will be clear cut. The limiting factor for deer is shelter in the winter. So you have to retain conifers, right? And historically, not enough conifer forest has been retained when they've been doing cutting. Right, so what happens is the mortality for deer is in the winter, cold winters. Now, we haven't had a lot of deer mortality for about 2 or 3 decades because of the warm winters. So I don't think that's a limiting factor. Yes, when you cut an area, it creates a lot of browse, but that's everywhere, right? So when it reaches a certain stage, the browse, say 3 meters, because as you wear, deer like to browse, they're pretty lazy browsers, right? At the height of their head. And so unless they get really desperate, there's a heavy snow load in the winter and they have to stand on their legs to reach up, they're not going to reach up more than this. Okay.
no, but the moose will.
Well, yeah, that's right. That's what I'm getting to. So what happens is when it gets up to say 3 or 4 meter, that's the habitat type that moose will have, right? But there's very little overlap for moose and deer because of the brainworm. Right? And where the species overlap, except when you get up to Basin Road, up into Algonquin Park, which is a big question mark, because you start getting moose up there, right?
We got moose here too.
I know, I got some.
Okay, you said the deer needed shelter for the winter up
Yeah,
there.
right.
Well, I own 257 acres of bush and I'll give you all the poplar there you want because there's no shelter in poplar service.
That's right, they
I
don't.
know. Well, what are you saying? They need shelter?
Okay, on the north side of this lake, there's conifers.
Right.
So what I'm saying essentially is there's no shortage of deer. There's no shortage of browse.
Where are they getting the brow then? If you were saying they're coming up when it's cut,
Sorry?
where are the deer getting their brows from up there?
Well, there's a lot of cutting going up everywhere. So they're going to be clear cutting all the way down Guns Road. Right up, towards the east off Guns Road. So this is not the only section they're going to cut. So it's like we have too many deer. We have ample browse.
Too
The
many.
limiting factor for the deer is conifer shelter, right? Conifer shelter is found at the north end of the lake.
So it's not affecting the end where they're cutting then. If there's no conifer or
Well, okay, I mean, I'm putting that into the equation. There is conifers that will be cut at the north end of the lake. It's probably about 20% of the land base. I'm eyeballing it. But what I'm saying is, Carl, we've got a lake. It's completely undeveloped, no cottages, none at all. And it's accessible to the public. Families go up there. There are very few areas in this jurisdiction where you can walk to a lake in less than 15 minutes and it's undeveloped. And if you log it, you're going to lose that asset. Does that make sense to you? We've got thousands and thousands of acres of forested land that's being cut all the time. We don't have to preserve it for perpetuity if you don't want. We can come back in 5 or 10 years or next forest management plan if council decides at that point, hey, we need the wood or for whatever reason. But if you take it out now, all your options for that site are gone. That's all the outdoor recreational opportunities that I've discussed: hiking, canoeing, camping, fishing, including ice fishing. A lot of guys that go up there to ice fish. I talked to them. That's going to go. You want to go and have a 13-hectare lake there and everything's being clear cut around it? I don't think so.
I think I'm gonna,
Just what would that, but clear cutting a bush has nothing to do with fishing, period.
Well, it
Fish-
does if it's a trout fishery, because all of a sudden the microclimate has changed. All that vegetation is creating shade, not necessarily over the water, because we're dealing with pop. But if you clear an area as much as 200 hectares, the microclimate will change and the water temperature will change, and you will not have trout, bottom line. I don't think people will want to go out there if you clear cut it all. I mean, I'm just being honest here. And it doesn't mean you can't do that in 5 or 10 years' time, but if you do it this winter, all your options are, we can't even explore any opportunity of turning that over for recreation. Is that what you want? Does that make sense? You go to any other municipality, they don't have the option. They don't have privileges that we have that we're taking for granted.
so I don't see any more questions. So does council, do you require more time to think or?
All we're asking is a letter.
I can't support it unless I hear both sides of the story. Like I need somebody from the
So-
ministry to tell me what he's saying is true, and
So you need more
not
information?
that I don't believe you,
No, I
don't get
don't.
me wrong, but I have to hear both sides.
Full picture.
Why don't you contact Nick, talk to him on the phone? Tell him that I showed up at council, this is what I said.
If you can get me this information to me, I will contact.
Yeah, okay, so
So-
what I'll do is I'll give you the contact information for Nick, I'll send it to the mayor of the council. And you can send him an email, or you give him a call and say, hey, look, what's your take on this? Is that okay?
Something.
Good,
I'd like to say, I agree with Ted. I just want to find out what the scope of their work would actually be. But I appreciate you coming in and being so passionate about protecting our beautiful assets that we have here. Yeah,
right.
I agree. We need to protect these things because they are precious. And
Mhm.
but I just like to learn more because I just don't know enough about this to make a
Can we
educated
get
decision tonight.
Nick Goodrum in here to speak to council? How would that be?
You'd have to set that up with Tammy and for a
Would
delegation,
you be open to that?
if it shows both sides of the story.
Okay, I'll give him a call tomorrow.
Yeah. So is everyone okay with that? Bill, Harold? Okay, we're good. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, folks. Take care.
Minutes of the previous meeting of October 21st, open and closed.
Moved by Bill Smith, second by Harold Levine, motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of October 21st, 2025, open and closed sessions. Understanding that closed minutes remain confidential.
All those in favor? Carried. And next, we have a report from our community development coordinator. Tammy, do you want to do that?
So Colton just asked that I pass this report on to council. He's looking for direction with regards to Canada Summer Jobs and Celebrate Canada. So he's just wondering, last year, for 2024, 2025, we applied for the one for the visitor information center, 2 for roads, 1 for waste, 2 for swim, and 1 community development assistant. And what we got approved was the community development assistant, 1 waste, and 2 swim. So Colton's wanting to know if council would like to him apply for the same positions as last year for that one. And then Celebrate Canada, he's wondering if council wants to, what council wants to do for fireworks. Last year, I believe it was $15,000, taxes included, 2 locations, KPS and St. Andrews, approximately 12 minutes in duration. There's another one that if you wanted to step up the fireworks, it costs $20,000, taxes included, but same 2 locations, but over 15 minutes and a significantly larger show. And then if you wanted to step down to $10,000, taxes included, one location, which would be St. Andrew's School, 12 to 15 minutes, and an all cake style for fireworks, similar to a smaller scale option. And he would like to know if you would like him to apply for the amount for 15,000 again under the Celebrate Canada program.
Okay, so any discussion, or let's have discussion on number one, the Canada Summer Jobs. Any comments?
The students, we just hire the same every year.
Not, I'm not saying it would make a difference, but does anyone feel it would be prudent on our part to have staff come back with how much it cost for all the students of last year against the number of dollars we received in grant money, just to see what the net effect is that it's costing us for the students? Let's face it, like, we all want the students. We're front and center in that.
We need them. We need them
Yeah.
in the summer.
But would it help to illustrate the cost that it's costing the municipality?
I think we did something like that last year. I remember, did we not do that at some point? Bring in that information? You kind of remember?
I do kind of. remember.
Okay,
I don't, that's why I brought it up.
okay. But I think what Ted says is right. We have to have the.
We have to, yes.
Regardless, and he has to get on this. It's out right now and he needs to get on it. So, and we can always change our mind, but we can't miss this.
No, I totally agree.
So it would be good if he went ahead and just did it.
Everyone's okay for applying those grants? Everybody? Okay, we're good for that. But can I put a little asterisk at the bottom? It would be good for council to know the net effect of last year's student versus what we received, just so we understand. Okay, so if we could have that, that would be great. Number two, the fireworks, comments.
I don't take this to mean that we have to decide which fireworks package we're going with right now. I think he's just asking us if we want to apply for the full 15,000 or what we want to apply for. And I would say yes. Like the last year.
Yeah, and make those other decisions after the fact.
Tammy, did you think that he was asking us to make the fireworks decision tonight?
It's usually Bob, but.
Yeah, because he has a contact, or he has the contact with the fireworks guy.
Yeah, so to me, he said council discussion whether to apply for the 15,000 or more or less under the Celebrate Canada program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he just wants to whether to go ahead. Everyone okay with that? Yeah. So we're good on both fronts. Now we're going to skip over to correspondence. We have a resolution for the municipality of Bluewater, keeping climate change as a foremost national priority.
Moved by Maureen McMillan, second by Bill Smith, whereas the municipality of Bluewater has passed a resolution urging the government of Canada to keep climate change as a foremost national priority. And whereas the Township of Killu, Haggerty and Richards recognizes the serious impacts of climate change and communities and on communities and the vital role of federal leadership and municipal support. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Killu, Haggerty and Richards supports the municipality of Bluewater's resolution. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be sent to the Prime Minister of Canada, the Premier of Ontario, the Minister of Environment and Climate Change, MP Cheryl Gallant, MPP Billy Deneau, the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, and all Ontario municipalities.
All those in favor? Carried. Next one is Donna Lynch. Letter to the mayor, council, CEO, KHR staff, and community members. And I believe this one is to be read out loud. If I may ask the clerk to read.
Dear Honorable Mayor, Council members, CAO, KHR staff, and community members. As the world is changing, so is our small community here in Killu, Haggerty, and Richards Township. Over the years, everybody knew everybody with larger families, mostly of 5 to 8 children. We went to school together, played sports together, had family businesses, etc. As you can see, we have changed many times over the years. We no longer have these large families. There are more people, and we don't know that have moved to the community. Our businesses in Killaloe have changed. For example, a Felski shoe store that was a long-standing family business that has now closed. They supported the local laborers and our community. The grocery store has changed. It's not the same, especially for our seniors. Service Canada has closed. It was a valuable resource for so many in our area and the surrounding townships. It's a huge loss for the township, to name a few. There are things we cannot change, though there are some things council should consider looking at, like having Service Canada reinstated in Killaloe. Service Canada in Pembroke has been bombarded with the added work from our area. Maybe someone from Pembroke would be interested in a partnership with opening a kiosk in Killaloe. Our mayor has fresh eyes on KHR. If you speak with him personally, he has many exciting thoughts of how our township could thrive. The mayor as our council members have all been elected by your township members. Your township members would expect all of you to be respectful to each other, agree to disagree, and move on. The mayor has pressed and asked many questions regarding the financial aspect of KHR with resentment from council and KHR staff. He read reports, took an interest, and looked for answers, and exposed that there were hundreds of thousands of taxes unpaid for many years, and that the Killaloe water bill was being paid by all taxpayers. What happened here? Questions for councillors. Has anyone asked Service Canada what options we have to reinstate a Service Canada back into Killaloe? Did previous councillors not know taxes were not being paid, or did they? Why was nothing done to rectify these unpaid taxes with previous councillors if they followed KHR protocol? If these tax dollars are being repaid, how will these dollars be spent? We put our trust in the councillors that we vote in. We would have affected taxes over the years and not be so significant to date with our tax increase. The ward system. KHR amalgamated in July 2025 years ago. There were to be 2 candidates to represent each ward in that area. We have voted for council members not living in that area. That causes concern and no longer is a fair representation of the area, as KHR blended into an amazing single township. The mayor has suggested to council that there should be a reduced number of councillors to 4 for the size of our township. This was clearly denied by the councillors on more than one occasion. The ward system is irrelevant. KHR would not have been chosen for the strong mayor powers if the township respectfully had 4 councillors for our small township. It would be difficult for council members to make that decision to reduce the number of councillors based on the biased decision and not on an economic financial decision. If council does not want to reduce the number based on the financial aspect for KHR, the community could decide on the number of councillors before the next election, as it is their tax dollars that are being used. Changes in the reduction of council members for Killaloe, Haggerty, and Richards should have been resolved years ago when individuals could run in wards they don't live in, saving taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars. Facts. Councillors and mayor are voted by respective KHR community members. The community wanted change and trusted the members that were voted in. Change is difficult. Voted councillors no longer live in areas represented as intended with the ward system 25 years ago. Killaloe, Haggerty, and Richards were divided in 3 individual areas for our geographical size, with 2 representatives from each ward for a geographical balance, rather than having all council members concentrate in one part of the municipality like it's today. That's where we still are, with 6 councillors, but the concentration of members are in Killaloe, not representatives of the geographical ward area that they are representing. Councillors agree that they represent all of KHR, not just the ward they are representing. Amalgamation happened 25 years ago. The ward system is irrelevant at this point, as we are an inclusive Killaloe, Haggerty, and Richards Township. This should have changed years ago. Things are different and will continue to change. We are one beautiful township unless you're still looking at the past on how things were done before. Killaloe, Haggerty, and Richards Township has a population of 2,400 and it supports 6 councillors. 3 councillors living in Killaloe, 1 in Wilno, 2 in Round Lake, 1 councillor not living in the ward that they represent. Bonnechere Valley Township has a population of 3,800 and supports 4 councillors. Madawaska Valley Township has a population of 4,000 and supports 4 councillors. Renfrew has a population of 8,000 and supports 5 councillors. Petawawa has a population of 18,000 and supports 6 councillors. That includes the deputy mayor and Reeve. Strong Mayor Powers communication for our township was received April 10th, 2025 from the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing, announcing that Strong Mayor Powers would be granted to our municipality. These powers were assigned to 169 municipalities with councils of 6 members or more. As of May 1st, 2025, 216 out of the 444 municipalities have been granted the implementation of these strong mayor powers. These powers provide the head of council with an enhanced responsibilities and tools. They also require a clear understanding of legislative, budgetary, and administrative processes to ensure transparency, accountability, and alignment with both provincial and local priorities. Councillors and the mayor have legal responsibilities to the community. As leaders, they are held to a higher standard of behavior and conduct. General Conduct 7.1, as per the KHR Code of Conduct, every member has the duty and responsibility to treat members of the public, staff, and each other in a respectful manner without abuse, bullying, harassment, or intimidation. Respect for staff. A section of the code specifies that council members must use respectful language and not put the integrity of staff into question during meetings. Advance notice for questions. Council members are expected to provide staff with advance notice of substantial questions they intend to raise, allowing staff adequate time to prepare a response. To be transparent, the previous unpaid taxes should have been addressed prior to this council. Unfortunately, this caused our present councillors to make a difficult decision to significantly increase our current taxes. What is happening at the council meetings is disrespectful towards staff and each other. You were all voted in by KHR community members. Change is hard, decisions are hard, agree to disagree respectfully. The mayor has respected council's right to express their views, even through the vote of a non-confidence, even though the vote of non-confidence has no legal effect under the Municipal Act 2001. He takes their message seriously and remains committed to addressing concerns constructively. It does not change his legal role as a mayor and how the township operates. His responsibilities to ensure township business continues responsibly, lawfully, and in the best interest of the residents. His priority is to rebuild trust and strengthen working relationships. He welcomes opportunity for open dialogue with council and is open to mediation and facilitated governance workshops to help us move forward together. At the end of the day, he wants what's best for our community. He has committed to leading calmly, transparently, and professionally. He welcomed constructive feedback and encouraged open conversation. This is a time for teamwork, not division. He feels that we can move forward together for the good of our township. We do hope that our elected members of council come together for the betterment of the township and all who live within. Open and transparent dialogue and communication is always the utmost importance. We as ratepayers appreciate all the work and efforts our elected officials are putting forward and trust we will all benefit and through what has transpired in the past few weeks, better and strong because of it. With the change of council and mayor, there are many accomplishments. The Round Lake Fish Stocking Program, the many continued programs and activities throughout the township, bringing in visitors as much needed revenue. The ongoing road infrastructure and repairs are also much needed. We are a proud and progressive community. We couldn't do things without our amazing volunteers. Questions for councillors. Does Killaloe, Haggerty, and Richards need 6 councillors and why? How does the ward system benefit the KHR constituents? Why are not all public meetings posted in a timely manner on the KHR website? With all due respect, let's do this for our township. Eliminate the ward system, it's irrelevant. For years, previous councils allowed anyone to run in any ward as exciting councillor members. You have a decision to make regarding the voting system that's irrelevant in today's township. Have equality for ratepayers on voting throughout the township. It's one township. Members with higher votes should be selected as the township councillors. It's that simple. Will this council eliminate the ward system before the next election? Reduce the number of council members according to the number of residents in the township as previously recommended by the mayor before the next election. Let's put tax dollars back into the community. Inform the public that if council does not reduce the number of councillors to 4 in this term, taxpayers will have to continue to pay for 6 councillors for the next 4-year term, costing approximately $20,000 to $30,000 each year for these 2 councillors, approximately $100,000 or more in a 4-year term. Will this council vote to go down to 4 councillors before the next election? Stay on task, keep it professional and not personal. You are all voted delegates for Killaloe, Haggerty, and Richards and represent the community as a team. Let the mayor continue to diligently do his job and ensure transparency with or without the strong mayor powers, with a clear understanding of legislative, budgetary, and administrative process to ensure transparency, accountability, and alignment with both provincial and local priorities. By continuing to read reports, take an interest, and look for answers to support the KHR community. The mayor was elected for change, and the 6 councillors were elected to support change. I'm requesting that this letter be read aloud and the questions I have be answered directly by council at the next regular council meeting. Residents deserve clarity, and I hope council will provide full and timely responses. Sincerely, Donna Lynch, longstanding community member.
So I just want to speak to this because Donna Lynch did send this as an email to us. It was worded a little bit differently. She changed some of the wording. And I did actually answer every single one of Donna's questions. It was like still about 5 pages long, and I took the time and sent her an email. And then after she was outside having a conversation with you, Dave, we get this back. So you obviously had a conversation with her, and now this has come back to us. But all of these questions I answered with truthful answers, like the kind of answers that we would probably all tell any constituent that came up to us. So.
Any other comments? Okay. So is Bennett Blackwell supporting Crime Stoppers in 2026? Oh, sorry. Yes, I missed that one. Township of Madawaska Valley. Sure, do you want?
Put your mic on, girl. Mic on hold.
Yeah, we just got a letter from the Township of Madawaska Valley, the fire chief and council and its residents. They're just responding, fire volunteers, communication, getting along together, Raglan, Killaloe, Haggerty, Richards, and they want to thank us on behalf of the township for our good communication and working together with the last fire they had up in Barry's Bay and Killaloe area.
Next one is from Bennett Blackwell. Supporting Crime Stoppers.
Is it something we've ever supported in the past?
Is that on our list?
No.
Crime Stoppers?
No.
No.
Okay.
So if we want, we can bring this forward at budget time. And the next one is from Ernie P. Coolis, letter to council. And read out loud, please.
Dear members of council, I want this read out loud. As a taxpayer, I'm starting to see what really keeps this council awake at night, and it's not the township's finances, how this township is being run, or the need to make local government work better for the people who pay for it. The real concern seems to be what might happen if change ever actually occurred. Reducing the number of councillors is terrifying. One of your buddies might lose a seat, and the comfort of having 6 votes to protect the status quo could disappear. Imagine the horror of having to make decisions without a guaranteed majority of familiar hands ready to rise in unison. And really, why can other townships get along just fine with 4 councillors and a mayor? Yet here in KHR, we apparently need 6 brains to accomplish what others do with fewer. What's so complicated about running this township that takes half a dozen people to hold everything in place other than council's determination to protect their own seats? Eliminating the ward system, unthinkable. It might mean you have to earn the support of the entire community, not just a few well-connected friends and family in your backyard. You might have to campaign on ideas, answer questions from residents outside your circle, and win votes based on performance instead of proximity. Heaven forbid our elections become about merit, accountability, and vision rather than geographically personal alliances or who happens to live up the road. The possibility of fair township-wide representation should excite a confident council, yet here it seems to terrify you. Instead of tackling these real issues, we're treated to lengthy discussions about the Christmas market and staff Christmas party, apparently the cornerstones of modern municipal governance. Meanwhile, important decisions about efficiency, representation, and fiscal oversight are pushed aside like unwanted fruitcake. To make matters worse, council seems more interested in fighting the mayor than working with him. The strong mayor framework is a provincial law, yet you've chosen to spend time, energy, and taxpayer money trying to silence the one person using it to try to get things done. So what exactly are you afraid of? That the mayor might finally make progress where others have delayed? Residents are watching. We see when local government turns into a clubhouse for the same familiar faces, and when protecting personal views take precedence over serving the public. It's time to stop hiding behind each other and start doing the job you were elected to do. Sincerely, Ernie P. Coolis, taxpayer.
Yeah, I have a lot to say about this letter. Okay, so we're gonna start on like number one. This has come up in two things, the ward system. We have discussed the ward system and the number of counselors at great length. The last time we determined that we're going to look into adding this to our ballot at election time for residents to have a vote. You would be amazed. People who keep saying like, why do you have 6 counselors? Why do you have a ward system? You'd be amazed at the support there is out there for 6 counselors and a ward system. Just because you feel one way doesn't mean your neighbor down the road feels the same way. So ward system discussion, like let's close this. It's going to happen, maybe not soon enough, but that will be dealt with. That's in the works. Number 2, the Christmas market and Christmas party. You know, sir, I invite you to come out to Station Park November the 28th. Enjoy the Christmas lights. There's going to be a community choir there that night. You know, come out and get a little bit of joy. And the strong mayor framework is provincial law. Yeah, we have laws that we also have to respect, the Municipal Act, our procedural bylaw, and strong mayor powers do not come ahead of that. We also have a lot of upload, and we have to make sure that we're doing our job. So that's all I have to say about that.
Councillor Cycle.
Yes to what Councillor McMillan said, and I just want to say that I couldn't possibly hide behind anyone. I haven't met that person yet anyway, and I am doing my job right here, right now, every single day. So you can take that back, Mr. Coolis. Don't appreciate it.
Yes, Mr. Coolis, and if you think you can do a better job, you should run. Anybody can run. So on out and support your mouth for a change.
Okay, moving on to F. EOWC news release. Ottawa Valley Climate Matters. The County of Renfrew Council and Committee monthly summaries. Municipality of Wawa. Accessible and effective alcohol container return system in Ontario. MMAH, Amendments to the Development Charges Act 1997. The KAP Outdoor Statistics. Pickleball had a good year. Billy to know, Seniors Community Grant Deadline, December 18th. And the County of Brentford, support for Nation Building 2+1 Highway Program on Highway 17 and 11. I think that's all the communication we have. And next will be unfinished business. Tammy.
And so I provided council with a email from MMAH confirming November 24th for the training at 7 PM via Zoom. I'm just clarifying with council if they want staff members to attend. And if so, did they want to open it up to all staff or department heads?
Any comments, Bill?
Yeah, I think definitely it would be a good idea to have department heads, and I'm not opposed at all to having any staff that wanted to come. I think it's part of their daily life, their daily work, and if we can all learn together, that's in my mind.
Would that be a public meeting?
Council training is typically done in a closed meeting.
I think so. Alex has done this training online several times, and he does have a PowerPoint that I'm sure he wouldn't mind. He's told me that I could share it with people. So I'm sure he wouldn't mind us sharing the PowerPoint afterwards with people. It'd probably be good to ask him though. I don't know if he'd want it open to.
Can we ask him that question, Tammy?
To share the PowerPoint
Or to have it as an open meeting? And next we have Counselor Smith. And Bill, before you start, can I just read a statement?
Yep.
Reviewing the legal opinion prepared by Aird and Barreless LLP, I must point out a serious flaw. The opinion was based on our township's procedural bylaw number 16-2023, which has not been updated to reflect the strong mayor framework that came into effect on May 1st, 2025, under Part 6.1 of the Municipal Act 2001 and OREG 530-22. In effect, the law firm was asked to review strong air directives using a bylaw that predates the legislation itself. That is a fundamental error in process and context. The result is a costly legal opinion paid for by our taxpayers that cannot be relied upon because it was based on outdated and incomplete governance documents. Council administration had a responsibility to update the procedural bylaw immediately following the township's designation under the provincial regulation. Instead, public funds were spent on an opinion that assessed new provincial powers through an old municipal framework. That does not serve public interest, nor does it represent sound financial stewardship. I also recognize that there is room for improvement in how these powers are communicated and applied. I am continuing to learn and adapt, and I remain open to constructive dialogue with the ministry, the integrity commissioner, and council. But accuracy matters. Compliance with a provincial law is not a choice, it's an obligation. For that reason, I oppose any further discussion or public circulation of the Aird and Barreless opinion, because doing so only spreads incorrect and misleading information about the law and the role of the head of council under the strong mayor framework. Our focus now should be on updating the procedural bylaw to align with current legislation, restoring clarity, and moving forward together under one accurate legal framework. And
Are you kidding me? You are the one that does telling people all this information that isn't true.
Okay.
No, you are.
Bill, you're up.
I'm so sick and tired of listening to you lie to people.
Bill, you're up.
Yeah, I was just waiting for it to calm down a little. You're right, we spent a lot of money on this. I'm not quite sure how much because we haven't got the bill for it yet. We were in a position, council was in a position where we thought our lawyer, our regular lawyer, told us we should get a second opinion. And so we didn't want to go to a slouch. We went to John Mascarin. You've heard the name. I looked up his resume. Well, you've heard it here. Sorry. So I looked him up. I wanted to say, why did we pick him? So he's a partner at Aird Barreless, which is a law firm in Toronto. He's a certified specialist in municipal law and local governance. He's a professor at Osgoode Hall Law School. He's the leader for the municipal accountability team. So he knows what he's talking about. Essentially, that's That's why we hired him. He's the guy who, or he's the person who the mayor had suggested that we bring in, and he's a person who's done countless trainings around the province on strong mayor power. I just want to say that Dave's right. There are a couple of references in this document to the procedural bylaw. But by and large, what this document does, and I encourage you to read it. Rob, there you go. I encourage you to read it because it is pretty fascinating. I've gone through and I've made some highlights here. But the majority of this document, and anyone who's read it would say the same thing, is comparing the strong mayor directives, as well. There's a section on the mayor's speech that he gave, comparing that to the strong mayor legislation, to the municipal act, and then to the Ontario regulation that includes that. So that's what this is, the majority about this about. So I respectfully disagree. I agree with you that it might have a reference to a procedural bylaw that's out of date. I think that's immaterial, and this is primarily just that. So I'm going to go as quickly as I can. I've highlighted a few things here that just jumped out at me. He said in his introduction, Chief Justice Frank N. Morocco observed that, or noted that, unlike in private corporations, a head of council as the nominal head of council as the nominal CEO, meaning just in name, had no power to unilaterally bind the municipality or commit the municipality to a certain course of action. Then we jump ahead to municipal employees. And this, he says, for the purpose of exercising the powers or performing duties under this part, and every time he says this part, it means just strong mayor powers. That's what it refers to. So under this part, the head of council may direct municipal employees to undertake research and provide advice to the head of council and the municipality on policies and programs of the municipality or of the head of council as they may relate to the powers and duties under this part. What does that mean, under this part? It means the mayor can ask staff, meaning the CAO, to research and provide advice to the head of council about legitimate strong mayor powers. And the legitimate strong mayor powers, going back to it, building 1.5 million new homes, infrastructure to support the homes, transit, roads, utilities, and services. Those are the things that strong mayor powers were designed to help municipalities move forward. Very clear. Section 284.3 does not provide a strong mayor the authority to provide municipal employees unilateral or general direction about any matter whatsoever in the same manner that a council would. Nor does the section vest in a strong mayor the power to exercise general control over municipal operations. Period. That's pretty clear. It doesn't give him the right. It does not give the mayor the right to be the head of municipal operations, as he suggested. And it doesn't give him or the mayor the right to give unilateral or general directions about any matter. It's just the specific matters. Ultimately, he says any direction must relate to an other power or duty of a strong mayor under part blah, blah, blah. Again, under that part. I'm getting there. Section 284.3 does not and cannot circumvent the ordinary decision-making structure of a municipality by allowing a strong mayor to issue broad-ranging edicts that municipal employees are bound to implement. Pretty clear again. Can't do it. It's not about that. It's about duties that relate to the strong mayor powers, which are advancing provincial priorities. Moving on to the mayor's statement, the mayor made a number of, this is John says, the mayor made a number of incorrect comments during the meeting, which we believe has misinformed his interpretation. And the one that jumps out for me is that the CAO now reports directly to him. That's not true according to the legislation. He further goes on to say it's incorrect to state that a strong mayor must utilize all the powers. Dave has said that many times, that it's not a matter of choice. We have to do this. The act applies to us, but there's nowhere in the act that says, in fact, it's wrong to say that he has to do each of these things. Overall, the directives, the 6 directives, this was about the first 6 directives, not the most recent one, have fundamental flaws and exceed the scope of the mayor's authority to give direction pursuant to Section 284. Each mayor's directive is, blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry, I'll skip ahead. Mayor Directive number 2, the first directive purports to direct, first, this directive purports to direct that the CAO primarily reporting relationship is to the mayor. This is incorrect. Neither section provides that a CAO reports to the head of council. Rather, the role of the chief administrator has often been described as council's sole employee. Council takes direction, or the CAO takes direction from the council. In any event, that section does not contemplate a change to the reporting structure of the municipal administration. Again, as Dave has suggested, that the CAO now reports to him. The expert here says that that's not true. Nor would Section 284 authorize a strong mayor to direct the chief administrative officer not to provide information to members of council outside of the confines of a meeting. And that's in reference to the Directive 2 that was attempting to limit any communication between Tammy and staff. And you'll recall that we talked about that at our last meeting. And I said that what that would limit is me bringing your concerns or community concerns to staff. That's what it was trying to cut off. That's not allowed. Section 280.3 does not authorize a strong mayor to issue general directions about how municipal administration is to undertake various administrative tasks. Again, the mayor is not the head of administration and doesn't control administration. Going on, direction is limited to researching and providing advice or implementing a valid strong mayor decision. Continuing, both directives exceed the scope of authority. Now he's talking about directives 3 and 4 and also 6. That they exceed the scope of authority. He goes on to say, astonishingly, Directive 3 also provides that the mayor's authority under Directive 3, quote, is not subject to amendment or repeal by council resolution or by bylaw, suggesting that he's above council bylaws or municipal bylaws. Simply put, the types of directions that can be given pursuant to Section 284.3 do not include, as a going concern, direction about how council agendas are to be prepared or how council meetings are to be conducted. These matters have nothing to do with researching and advising on a proposal that relates to strong mayor powers, nor to implementing a valid decision made under Part 6. In our opinion, Directives 3 and 4 are in direct conflict with the procedural bylaw, which has been adopted by council, which binds the township. So to Dave's point earlier, it's a little out of date, but still it's not going to change the substance. He goes on to say the mayor cannot unilaterally add or remove items to the agenda. We're almost at the end here. Nothing in a part of the Municipal Act authorizes a strong mayor to direct the administrative practices of a municipality. There's nothing in the part that authorizes a strong mayor to provide that a directive supersedes a municipal bylaw. There's nothing in section 284 of the Municipal Act that authorizes the mayor to give directions to council. He can't tell us what to do. We're elected by the people. He's elected by the people. All 7 of us are councillors and we report to you. In his conclusion, he said, the directives appear to trench upon council's policy-making role, and the role of municipal administration in implementing those decisions by, among other things, determining the administrative practices of the township. The strong mayor does not step into the shoes of their council to direct staff in any respect of the matter. And then just to finish up, I'll go back to his executive summary, which is at the beginning, because this describes why we're doing what we're doing. And I know there's a bunch of people out there who think that we're just fighting Dave, really, because he's not the former mayor, and people are writing us and telling us that, oh, we never supported him from the beginning. But this is why we're not supporting this strong mayor stuff, from my perspective. In our opinion, this is what John's saying. In our opinion, each of the directives exceed the scope of the powers afforded to the mayor under section 284.3 of the Municipal Act. Thematically, they either fail to give legitimate direction to township staff and instead purport to direct council to do some things in a particular manner, or they exceed the statutory limitations on the types of direction that can be given to municipal employees, which is highly circumscribed. As such, and this is the big sentence, as such, it's our opinion that the directives are invalid and should not be implemented by township staff nor followed by council. You can't ask questions, sorry. So that's what you paid for us. That's why we asked, because we knew this was coming to this. We'd already received one opinion. We had heard that this is what this opinion was going to be. This is why we paid for this money. And I'm heartened, Dave, to hear that you're going to reconsider after we have some training. That's good. I'm disheartened to hear you cherry picking things out of presentations without the backup, because no matter what your initial speech here earlier today, I'm relying on this as what the truth is. And it's very different from what you're saying. Okay?
Yep. Okay. Under new business, closed meeting investigation report and resolution.
Okay, so I'm presenting council with a report from the closed meeting investigator arising from 2 closed meeting complaints. The first complaint pertained to a closed meeting held September 16th, 2025, and the second complaint arose from an email sent by the CAO clerk treasurer to all members of council. On page 2, you will find the preliminary review and facts and the analysis on page 4, conclusion and the analysis on page 4, and the conclusion and recommendations on page 8. The closed meeting investigator recommends that the township adopt a practice of identifying the subject matter for closed meeting discussion in the resolution to move into close as is required by the Municipal Act. The closed meeting investigator also advises that the township should also carefully consider the exception relied upon in order to ensure that the correct exception is applied and the matter is properly and in closed session. The closed meeting investigator indicated that in his report that council should be careful to ensure that discussions and decisions do not deviate from a valid closed session item while in closed session. Furthermore, councillors should adopt a process and ensure that it not conduct council business via email if business or affairs of council are being discussed by council as a whole or by a sufficient number of council to form quorum. A proper meeting must be called. In accordance, the report will be published on the municipal website.
Any questions? Comments? Resolution.
Moved by Carl Keel, second by Ted Brown, whereas council has received the report of the closed meeting investigator, and whereas the report includes recommendations to strengthen the township's closed meeting procedures and council communication practices. Now therefore be it resolved that council receives the closed meeting investigators report as information. Council directs staff to ensure that all future resolutions move into closed session, clearly identify the subject matter and the applicable exception under the Municipal Act 2001. Council confirms that discussions and decisions during closed meetings shall not extend beyond the matters properly identified in the resolution, and council adopts a practice prohibiting the conduct of council business by email or other form for informal means where a quorum may be involved, ensuring that all council deliberations occur at duly called meetings in accordance with the Municipal Act.
I do have one question. Do we need to update our procedural bylaw to put those into? Okay, all those in favor of the resolution? Okay. So we'll, you'll make a note on the resolution that they have to be put into the procedural bylaw? No, or we just do that? Okay. The Aqua drinking water system.
I provided council with the financial plan and the amended version as well to include the special area rate. If council is okay with it, I do have a resolution prepared for its approval and adoption. Moved by Ted Brown, second by Harold Levine, whereas Ontario Regulation 45307 under the Safe Drinking Water Act 2002 requires municipalities to prepare and approve a financial plan, condition of maintaining a municipal drinking water license. And whereas the Township of Killaloe, Haggerty and Richards has retained the Ontario Clean Water Agency to update the financial plan for the Killaloe drinking water system, resulting in the Killaloe drinking water system financial plan number 259-301, which outlines the financial sustainability and long-term viability of the system. Now, therefore, be it resolved that council for the Township of Killaloe, Haggerty and Richards approves and adopts the Killaloe drinking water system financial plan number 259-301 as presented, and that a copy of the plan be posted on the municipal website.
All those in favor? Carried. Councillor McMillan.
So I just had a request that mayoral decision number 1 with the organizational chart where it looks like, and maybe you can clarify this on that organizational chart. Do you have council reporting directly to you?
Council, yeah, see you.
No, it's a solid line on your thing.
Council?
No.
I don't have one.
Okay. Okay, just I've just
Should be.
okay, I just find it a little concerning, which is why I was asking, requesting that we can just get a legal opinion about it. And I don't think our solicitor, I'm not sure if he would be able to give us an adequate opinion about it and how it relates to strong mayor powers, which is why I suggested maybe we go outside to do that.
I'll revisit that and I'll make sure it is. Okay.
So there is a motion on the floor. I don't know if council wants me to proceed with it.
Do you want to wait until you look at till I look at and send it back?
You bring us something, yeah, bring us something back and maybe we can
Yeah.
revisit at our next meeting then.
So we'll pass on that. So as I said earlier, I'm in the process of amending different directives. And the first one I'm going to do is the amended mayoral directive number 1, which I will sign now. And I have put changes in talking to the integrity commissioner and going through the report of John Mascaron. So I'll pass that on to Tammy to disperse tomorrow. And I will get that to you tomorrow as far as the decision one. Question or new business? Oh, sorry, you have to go to the oomph information first?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I provided council for information, the Minister of Finance in relation to an update on the Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund. The township is expected to receive $1,198,600 through the funding in 2026, which represents an increase of $142,600 or $83 per household.
Good. So basically that's information, right? Yep. I just have two things under new business. The one, the Good Roads Conference. Dean had sent us an email in regards to the early bird registration. As far as commitment from Ted and Brian and Carl. Are you guys? Or Harold, you went the year before. Oh, the Good Roads Conference?
Yeah.
2 years ago you went, last year you didn't.
I already contacted Dean.
Okay, are you gonna go?
No.
You're
I
not gonna,
plan on having my deed done
good.
by that time.
Ted and Carl? Okay, so we can do the early bird registration. And the other item I had was, or it's part A, part B. The Christmas party, is it confirmed November 29th?
I've called and booked our spot, yes.
I believe, Ted, you weren't here last November 29th. And my last question on this subject is the Christmas staffing between Christmas and New Year's. Tammy, have you given any thought to the schedule?
I haven't taken a look at it, no.
Because I think the last year we had said there was 3 days. Counselor Smith, I think, if I remember.
I think so. I can.
Yeah.
I would have to take a look at the human resources because it's.
Okay, it was put in. Okay. So if we could do that, that would be great, just so the public knows when we're going to be open and closed. Christmas is not that far away. Okay, I think that's it. Any other new business? And we're going to go to committee of the whole.
Moved by Bill Smith, second by Maureen McMillan, motion to move into committee of the whole. Be it resolved that the council move into a closed meeting pursuant to section 239 of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended for the following reasons. Personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, a medical request, and advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose, to review and discuss the legal opinion from the township solicitor.
All those in favor? All those in favor? Harold? All those